And we're live. Welcome to the Crimson Head Elder live stream interview. I'm Sonny Bauer. We're here with the stars of Resident Evil Remake, Heidi Anderson-Swan,
Hello.
who voices the iconic Jill Valentine, and with Joe Whyte, who voices the iconic Chris Redfield.
Howdy.
How are you both doing today?
That was my country greeting. Howdy. How y'all doing?
Doing great. Looking forward to this. It's so fun.
Yes. The iconic Jill Valentine. And we had the most wonderful group of Resident Evil fans from across the world for part 1, engaging with the two of you in the live chat. And now we welcome both of you for part 2 of Streaming with the Stars.
Yay. Yay.
Is that what it's called?
You like that?
Streaming with the Stars? Seriously?
Yes. That was George Trevor's idea, and it's a good one.
Okay. Okay.
I'm putting that on my resume.
Yeah, can it make sure you credit me, Joe?
Yeah, I will.
Speaking
Don't
of
you know
which,
who I am? I was on Streaming with the Stars.
speaking of which, I'm now going to hand it off to George Trevor and to JC Wesker. How are you guys doing today?
Yay.
Good, thanks, Artie. Sunny, even.
And you,
Hey,
George?
guys.
You're not supposed to don't use your real names on this thing, man.
I failed already.
All right, just as long as we don't reveal that you live in Bristol with me as well.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. You blew
We
it.
should all take names with colors. We should all be, Mr. Pink, Mr. Blue, Mr. Brown,
Oh, yes.
Mrs. Yellow.
It's better ambiguity, that, isn't it?
Oh,
Right.
let me just say, I'm old enough to appreciate how incredible this is that we've got Los Angeles, New York, and are you Montreal, Joe? Or
Montreal.
Quebec? Montreal. We've
for the
got
next week,
England. I mean, come on.
It really
This is
is.
amazing.
We are
And
international.
we've also got Brazil, guys, because we've got I've just seen in the live chat we've got Monique from Resident Evil Database.
Monique!
Oh,
Yeah,
yay.
she's
Hi,
already calling you
Monique.
guys out.
Welcome, Monique.
Muchos
Yay.
besos. How do you say? I don't know how you say
Well,
hugs and kisses in Portuguese.
Wow,
I'm
guys,
Hugs and
seriously,
kisses, Mo.
seriously, we've got Brazil representing. We've got Umfada Games again from last week. Hi, hola, amigos, and Vinny. So real Resident Evil Database community already.
yeah.
Fantastic.
We are quite unifying here, aren't we?
We really are.
That's great.
We are the world. We are Resident Evil.
Something that Monique from Resident Evil Database told me means we're in this together. Tamonjuto.
Tamonjuto?
Tamojuto.
Okay. Tamonjuto.
If I'm saying
That's
it
what
right.
that means?
Tamo Junto.
It means we're all in it together?
Basically, we're all in this together. Yes.
And you've
Excellent.
had a,
I'm
you've
sure
had
I
a
should
hello, guys.
apologise in advance for Sunny's pronunciation there, but maybe not, so I'll cover it in both bases.
I had to say it about 3 times to get it out right. I'm sorry.
Oh, that...
There you go. They're saying it. They're saying it in the chat now.
Vinny's confirmed it.
Okay. Well, last time we had quite a journey through the Spencer Mansion, and we ventured out into the courtyard, into Lisa Trevor's cabin. And at the end, we had just entered the guardhouse / residence behind the mansion. So that
This is where the hired help lives?
basically,
Okay.
yes. So we're going to
Wow,
be venturing through there today.
You wait till you see the hired help, Heidi. You're
Really?
gonna be shocked.
Is it so nice? Will I be
it's-
jealous?
It's quite a wonder to behold the sight of them.
Oh, you mean the actual help themselves?
Well, we'll see a few employees today in the live.
Oh, okay.
Themselves to something, that's for sure.
Okay.
All right. So, what do you guys say we once again enter the world of survival horror?
Let's do it. Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna do a more heroic Chris Redfield voice. Let's do this.
Yes.
Do you want to do your Resident Evil, Joe, as well? You're so famous
Oh,
for
yeah.
doing at the beginning of this game.
Resident Evil.
Nice.
Yeah, never lose it.
Was that you?
Uh huh. Yep.
He says very nonchalantly.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. All right,
That's
there.
my claim to
there
fame.
I
That's
am.
my
There's
15
Jill.
minutes right there.
She's busy in the guardhouse. Okay, so a cantina knife, increment. Oh, geez.
So
Grenade
many.
So do you want to
launcher.
explain? Let me explain to you, Jill.
Yes.
The blue and red herbs, those
Oh,
little
yes.
plants there. Okay, so
Yes.
the green herbs will heal you,
Uh-huh.
but if you get poisoned, you have to use a combination of green, red, and blue herbs to heal the poison.
Oh. And so are they
Or you
there?
can use. They're all over the place. You can find them and you can pick them. And but the spray can. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul or Artie. The spray can will cure poison. No.
No, just
No.
just full health.
Full
Right,
health,
right,
yes. Blue herbs are the only thing that cure poison.
So when
There
I
you go.
see a little spray can on Twitter, you see a little spray can every now and again, that's the spray can?
I would
Yeah,
assume so.
Yeah,
Other,
the first aid spray, yeah.
Yes.
Probably, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's referring
don't-
to okay.
yeah, to health. You don't get
Okay.
to tag the Spencer Mansion.
Oh. First aid
Anybody-
spray, like Bactade, is that what they used to call it?
Bactine, right? Bactine.
Bactine.
Bactine, yeah.
Remember
Bactine.
that? I can
Mhm.
feel it just as we say it. I feel Bactine on me now.
And it
I
always
can
burns.
smell it. Yep.
Yes.
It always burns.
Yes. Okay, so what's she doing?
Well, you want to see why I did that?
Yeah.
Let's find out why I did that.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna love this. Okay, because if you go through the
Oh.
yeah, it's a
Wait.
plant.
So pushing the
Okay.
box against those other boxes, you could climb over those boxes to avoid getting attacked.
And yet she was attacked.
Yes.
Well, he did it on purpose to show you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Heidi and Joe, Monique from Resident Evil Database says, hearing Jill and Chris say Tamo Junto was priceless. And we've got the Project Umbrella guys already, Neptune and Stars Tyrant and Vito, a big
Nice.
fan of Project Umbrella already in the chat. Hi guys, thanks for coming.
Tell them hi.
It's probably pronounced something like Tamahunto. I'm imagining that the J is silent. Is that right, Monique?
I'm not quite sure because I've heard her say it before. I don't think it is.
Oh, really?
Oh, wait, here we
okay.
go. We got a
Maybe-
cutscene here. Sorry.
Oh,
What about my family? If I play my cards right.
I wish we had Peter on here.
Right?
Well, maybe see if we can get him for part 3.
Okay, we got one more cutscene coming up.
This very much features you, Heidi.
Jill.
Barry, I heard someone talking.
Oh, you heard. I think age is starting to take its toll. Talking to myself is becoming a bad habit.
Talking to yourself? You all right? What's gotten into you?
I'm getting you worried, aren't I? But don't, I'm alright. I guess this creepy mansion has gotten to my nerves. Anyway, I think I'll go outside, get some fresh air for a change. Don't worry, I'm just going to get some fresh air. If I'm lucky, I'll get to waste some monsters along the way.
Creepy.
Are you
Yeah.
buying that routine, Heidi? He's very
Uh,
suspicious, isn't he?
He just needs some fresh air. Yeah, that was
Mhm.
creepy that she could hear the voice through the door going, what's going on?
Yeah, suspicious. This is a report of the giant plant, Plant 42, which we'll see later.
Well, we had a couple of. I just made a note of a couple of questions. I think Isles 487. Question for you, Joe. Simple enough. Have you played Remake 2? The remake of Resident Evil 2 is what was the question was.
No, I have not yet. I only have access. I'm up here in Montreal, and staying with a friend of mine, and he only has a PlayStation 3, and we haven't been able to. I haven't been able to get my hands on the remake. Is that available? Can I play that on different platforms?
Yeah, it's on multiple.
Is it on? Because the only other thing I have here is my laptop, my MacBook Pro. Will it play on an Apple?
Yeah, well, you can get it on Steam, can't you? So it's PC as well as
Oh, okay.
Xbox. Yeah, it's obviously Xbox One and PS4.
Oh, but it won't play on a laptop.
It
'Cause if
should,
it will,
depending on
I'll
the depending on the specification of the laptop, it may do. That's a bit
Oh.
out of maybe perhaps someone in the live chat can let you know, Joe.
Yeah, great. Because I would love to play the remake. How does it look? Does anybody have any opinions of it? Have you seen it?
Everyone's going quiet. So who wants to go first? Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's a beautiful looking game, and it does recreate very much, I think, wonderfully the aesthetic of the RPD. Unfortunately, closer up, the textures do fall down, and you don't get
Sure.
that detail. And the environmental features that you can read from the originals, you don't get that. And I know, I mean, particularly Monique from Resident Evil Database, I certainly would agree with. I think has come out and said that perhaps you don't really get the narrative and the story and the character building that we did with the original, which is interesting. But certainly the voice acting is wonderful.
Fantastic. I do have the original version of it. So
Some would say you don't get better than that, but
Which is why this remake that we're watching with your performances was so incredible. That it did improve. I think everyone universally said that.
Oh no,
yeah,
this is awful. Who is it? Who is this?
Oh, you know what?
Nobody you know.
Nobody I know. Oh, but relatively fresh. That's not a skeleton,
But
right?
Artie, why don't you show Heidi who that is? Because that's the great thing about this game, Heidi, that really engaged me with it, is that you can now find out who that is. There's a file with that person's backstory, and it's quite sad. He writes to his loved ones. I mean, Artie's going to show you now, I'm sure.
Where is that file anyway?
Artie, come on.
I can't even find it. I thought it was on the desk. I see the self-defense. Oh, maybe I got to pick that
It's on the
self-defense weapon.
It's on the. There you go.
Oh.
And I had a question coming in from Sovereign, I think, if I'm saying that right. Heidi, they just wanted to hear your opinion, your appraisal of the environment in which we are currently in.
Okay, well, I've been holding it back a little bit here because, again, I'm looking at the lighting in every scene, and I just love it. I love how each scene has its own distinct light source, and that's, one was a little light bulb, the other was just a reflection of a light. And then, of course, the butterflies or moths flickering around that one hallway light. I love. And look at the lamps and how they glow. And then you just see enough of that corpse to get that's just really disturbing. So I'm really, wow, I had no idea I would see a corpse like that.
I think
it's wonderful, isn't it?
I think the corpse just fell.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, that's what that crash was.
Was it? It wasn't a noise from the bathtub? A swish from the bathtub?
And I've got
Such wishful thinking
no
there,
more room now.
Heidi and Joe, could I just ask you to say hi to Yoke, because over the years, on the times that you've come on our podcasts and we've been lucky enough to interview you, Yoke has asked some fantastic questions that you would have answered.
Hello,
Absolutely.
Yoke.
Hey, Yoke.
I think he did actually. He did
Thanks
throw in a
for
question
tuning.
about favorite colors as well. I assume we're just talking generally. What are your favorite colors, guys?
Well, I did say he asked good questions.
That's right.
Sorry, my favorite color has always been blue, and but a particular shade of blue. I like. There's a semi-precious stone called lapis lazuli.
Oh yes.
Or lazuli. That's my favorite color. It's that lapis blue, that sort of cornflower, deep, dark cornflower blue.
Very pretty.
Lovely.
I think probably when I think of colors, what I like to see are multicolors. And then what I like to wear most is black. Oh, wait. What did we
Yeah.
just see? I just saw
That-
moving
that-
something.
That was a
Well,
resurrection.
That was a resurrection? Oh, no. Okay, why isn't Jill phased by any of this?
Oh,
She didn't get freaked out by the corpse.
She's just running away. Yeah, at this point.
Okay. She just ran away from the
Jill-
corpse?
Yeah.
She internalizes a lot. And,
Okay.
it's she spent a lot of years in therapy after the Spencer Mansion, as did most of the Stars team. I know Chris did.
Yeah, she's in
I
a
think,
state of denial to get through what she needs to do.
Well, you get to see Chris kind of and the psychological toll that these missions take on him. With I don't know if you've seen them, Joe. There are these viral videos for Resident Evil 5 live action in the chat. Unfortunately, not yourself. Playing the Chris. Oh, nice.
And look,
dodge
she
move.
just moved past him and went on.
Yeah, Chris Redfield spent some time in Colwyn Bay after the Spencer Mansion.
So there are little videos about Chris being traumatized.
Yes, in the lead up, they're like viral videos and they're live action. You can get them on YouTube. They'll be on our YouTube channel. They're uploaded. You're not seeing those, Joe.
I have not. Okay. There's a ladder here. Climb down.
This
Sure, why
soundtrack.
not?
This soundtrack is one of my favorite tunes in the whole game.
Absolutely, yeah.
Turn it up. Can you? I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No. Oh, there it is. Now I can hear it.
So this is beneath the guard's residence.
Yes, we're coming up on we got some water here.
I mean, this is where they've really improved. The environmental features. The water looks wonderful. I've always, I think, like many others, found this puzzle a little tedious, but it does get to shove.
It's a little time consuming, but little by little we trek on.
Lovely detail on the woodwork there, though.
Oh yeah, and on the walls, and again the light.
Yeah, Project Umbrella Podcast is right. This is one of the best tracks in the game.
And Heidi, I
agree.
We had a question coming from another UK gamer. He was just asking if you'd ever talked to or met Julia Voth, who's basically the face capture and model of Jill in this. Obviously, you provide the voice, and she provided the face, essentially.
I have never spoken to her, and I didn't know, that was the name of this face until Paul had told me about it. And then I've since seen her on, is it Twitter? And I think she does it on Twitter and Instagram, where she does Jill Valentine scenes and stuff.
Yes, she does.
And so I've commented a couple times, but I'm not sure she knows who I am. So anyway, but they're cute, the things that she does. I like those.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, where are we?
Oh, this is amazing.
This is the Aqua Ring.
It's looking a lot better on your PC version than it does on the consoles, RT.
Yes, there's a reason for that.
There's something coming for you, Jill.
Oh.
Oh no.
I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Why don't you just run, RT?
I'm
Running
running.
would be good.
So I only made one,
Look below.
So. Okay.
Oh, the music's getting louder. There's a reason for that too. I'm gonna avoid that though.
This is I like this
Great
part
question.
of
We've
the
had a
game.
great question. Finally, Yokes redeemed himself after that ridiculous. What's your favourite colour? He says, "What is for Heidi and Joe? What is your favourite shark movie?"
Oh well, that's an easy one. I mean, how many good shark movies are there? It's Sharknado, by all means. I mean, come on. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
It's got to be Jaws. It's got to be Jaws.
Yeah.
The first one. Come on.
I am completely. That's the only shark movie I've seen. So, I have never seen
Oh!
Sharknado or anything else.
Unknown source of pressure detected. Locking all doors to achieve maximum safety.
Oh boy.
Why is there all of a sudden like a Eastern Bloc voice
Yeah,
on the
I was
Well,
wondering that myself.
on the
Umbrella,
control system?
they have like an equal opportunities employer, aren't they?
Oh, okay. Sure. Well, that's
30% of pressure threshold.
Uh-oh.
Nope.
This
not
actually.
that one.
Argentina is representing with Lee Boy saying hi to Heidi and Joe all the way from Argentina.
Hello.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh. Hello.
Reaching 50%
That's fantastic.
of pressure threshold.
We got a question from Rebecca Hall. I think she asked it a little bit earlier. I tried to make a note of it. Do you guys have any favourite lines from that you remember from obviously your recording sessions?
The thing that I remember having the fun with were the effort sounds.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, just like because you spend a good, probably a good hour or two just doing all of the little incidental sounds. Like you get hit. If you get hit, you have to do four or five different levels of getting hit. Like the first one is just a little tiny hit. And the second one's a little more. And the third time is.
that was good.
You have to do. Yeah, thank you very much.
That sounded like just the game. That sounded just like the game version.
You haven't lost it, Joe.
No,
Yes.
you haven't.
Oh, that's so good to know.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that my effort sound with that shark was minimal. I was like, what? That's it? She just goes, one time? I would have had it for all the times that she mixed it up with that shark. You would think there'd be a few. And so for me, what would be my favorite line? Since I can't think of one off the top of my head, I'll just say Barry, because I say Barry in a whole bunch of different ways, apparently. So, oh no, this looks like a semi with us creature.
Wow, look how big this
jump
one
up
is.
and yes.
Look how big that one is. Wow.
Is it going to do anything?
Dr. Gordon says hello, everyone from Ireland.
Oh, hi.
That's fantastic.
This Heidi is the Neptune shark.
Okay.
That's my my family. Ireland. If you take all four of my grandparents, it was Ireland, Scotland, England, and France. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, I was wondering why she dumped the box in there. That explains it.
That explains it.
Oh, but
Yes.
wait.
Oh no.
Fish sticks, anyone?
Doesn't he
He's
have
still
one more-
alive.
No, he's done.
He's done.
I thought he had
Okay.
one more little spasm
Heidi-
left in him.
Heidi and
Yes.
Joe, you may have noticed that Oracle Dragon's voice is a little lower this week. You know, we've got JC's taken on her role, but but you may want to say hi. We've got the Oracle
I don't
Dragon
judge.
in the live chat at the moment. Hey,
You
Oracle.
got who in the live chat?
The Oracle Dragon that was with us last week. She's now in the live chat.
Hello.
Aaron.
Hi, Aaron. So my family's from Ireland. That's my grandmother came from Ireland, and apparently
Okay.
it was so bad to be from Ireland that she said she was from Scotland because that was at least a little better than being Irish. And so my
Really?
whole life I thought we were Scottish. And I didn't find out until I think I was almost 30 that we were Irish. And I was like, how could I not know this? And my dad said, oh, I guess I took on my mother's embarrassment from being Irish and just said we were Scottish all these years.
Oh,
Isn't that interesting?
That's crazy. You know,
Yeah.
we may be related, Heidi, because
Mhm.
my maternal grandmother's last name was Anderson.
Well, then, we should check this out.
Yeah.
Because,
I'll go on
yes,
Ancestry.com and see if we have any relations in common.
there could be. And
Because
I
wouldn't it be
also.
crazy?
Mhm.
Wouldn't it be crazy to find out that the voice actors of Chris
Mhm.
Redfield and Jill Valentine are actually cousins? And
That's interesting.
That would be
Well,
amazing.
And then it's
if we're gonna,
revealed
if we're gonna
later
do an
on.
episode of This Is Your Life, then I'm hosting it.
Excellent.
Okay, yes. Okay, but hold on. Explain to me why I was climbing up and down that box again. So I'm going, where is Jill going?
That tentacle in the hole that grabbed you last time. You're avoiding that.
Okay.
If you climb over the boxes, you don't get nabbed by the plant.
Correct.
If you don't go over the boxes, then the plant will get you, and it'll do some damage to you every time.
Okay, but I seem to be in the same spots again. Do you know what I mean? Same scenes again, and that's you just have to keep going back to the same place to get.
There's a bit of backtracking.
Yes,
involved,
there's a little bit of backtracking
Yeah,
involved,
yes.
especially when you have your inventory filling up like it is now. Yeah, you got to put items away sometimes. I'm trying to think my strategy here.
Mixed herbs. Wait, and so I never got to see that suicide note from that was out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had
Can
it
you
up
bring it up?
earlier. Yeah, I can bring it up again.
Yeah, bring it up again, Artie. You might
Alright,
want to
okay.
read it, Heidi.
Had to do
Sorry,
it.
not wanting to put you on the spot.
We ran from these
Oh.
things, helping each other to survive. But Robert started to show the symptom. I had to do it. Those damn things are pure evil. There was no other way. Here, Joe, you take over.
You would have done the same if it were the other way around. After I put him out of his misery, I had to just leave him in the bathroom. Now I'm probably the last one.
Oh,
Go ahead.
how could this happen? I'll never forgive myself for being a part of this project. Eventually, I'll get what's coming to me, though. There's no way to escape from this nut house. It's just a matter of time now.
Everything is set. All I need is a little courage to get it done. Knowing that I'll leave many things undone is regret beyond words.
But this is better than just waiting to turn into one of them. Please understand, and at least let me in my life. What? Please understand and at least let me end my life as a person. Oh, I got it. Okay. Linda, please forgive me. Oh no. Oh, oh, that's
And then he
sad.
hung himself. Yeah.
Oh, guys, that was amazing.
That was.
Oh, come on.
There's
We
people.
get
There's
so many
people.
comments.
The people
I had
in
a
the
frog
chat
in my
saying.
throat.
People in the chat saying that they had a fangasm over that.
No, stop it.
Oh, that's excellent.
Distant Memories says he just loved you so much for doing that. He's a huge fan of the files, like so many fans.
Oh my
and
God.
Oof. Ooh.
We got giant.
Oh, it's huge.
That's
We
awesome.
got giant spiders.
What's she gonna do?
Oh, here's one of these oil lamps. I believe in one of our posters for the stream, we saw one of a different color. The green one.
This one took me a long time to figure out. This puzzle. Yeah, I don't like the spiders. I don't like spiders in real life. They really creep me out. Don't like spiders.
And what was it spraying?
Acid?
Oh,
It poisons you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got me last night. I didn't realize. I just literally stepped on a tiny bit of it and just, damn, it got me. But I just love when you shoot that one spider that's up against the, up against the wall, going on the other side.
Take note of this shot. This was one of our posters for the stream.
okay.
Okay,
the
Heidi,
reason, can I just say, quick shout out to a fellow staff member, and hopefully he'll be on part 3, guys, with us. I know you know Heidi and Joe, you know him very well. Andrew, of course, BSSA Art.
Yay!
Oh yeah. Hey, Andrew.
He's in the chat, I think.
In Wales.
Yeah,
He's
and he
good.
provided us with the textures extracting from this game, so we were able to use that lantern in a great shot. So, hey, BSA Art Clayton, we'll help you. We'll see you on part 3.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, love the pool table. Don't appreciate the posters.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Nat,
what is
well,
this?
I think that most of the employees of Umbrella were probably male.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. This is definitely a,
Well, there's a great
nerdy
poster.
scientist.
So hold on 1 second. I just want
Okay,
want you all to take note that I lit an orange lantern, a yellow lantern, and a green lantern, and that has something to do with the setup of the pool balls on this.
Yeah, this was one of the
Oh.
harder puzzles, Heidi. For that, this took me a long time to figure out what the heck was going on, because this is all of the little puzzles that we're working with right now apply to other parts of the game. It's like you don't really even know what you're doing this for until you put it all together at a certain point.
So, I'm sorry, we cut out for just a second there. My reception did, but so you're saying that you had to figure out for yourself that the colors of the lanterns match the colors of the billiard balls.
And then
Right.
after that, you had to take into account, what that applies to.
Right. It's a multi-part puzzle that you have to go to several different locations to solve. It took me for bloody ever. I actually ended up taking screenshots of the screen because I couldn't remember the sequence.
Heidi,
Really?
you're getting a lot of
Yeah.
appreciation for your comments, about that man cave that you're quite.
Yeah. What do people say about it?
Yeah, that it was a man cave, and I loved Director Smiley's comment. He said Alexia, who's let's just say is a very strong female antagonist in the game, Heidi. He's just mentioned that Alexia didn't get her chance to to put her input into the decor of that man cave. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it'd been interesting to see if she had done. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it still could have been a man cave without that. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying. Is
Well,
it
I
just,
think it was a bunch of. I can see a bunch of nerdy scientists like, hey guys, we got our man cave. I got some pretty groovy posters. I found a poster of Farrah Fawcett, and I'm gonna put it up on the wall there. The pool table.
Oh, you're so cool, Henry. You're so cool. Henry's actually the guy that killed himself. So I think, or,
Yeah.
or one of the other
but is
guys.
it not
Yeah.
at least a little bit out of character with the rest of the genre? I mean, with the rest of, we haven't seen any of that anywhere else, correct?
True.
So
Yeah.
it stands
Well, I
out
think
a little
this is-
bit.
I think this is more kind of the residents, isn't it? This is where the the lower level stay, Heidi. So
Yeah.
just keeping the menfolk happy.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask you guys a quick question. Sorry, I think he asked it earlier, and it was you rephrased it again from Dr. Gordon FTW. They just want to ask you guys: are you surprised at the fact of that Remake is so beloved? More than sort of nearly 2 decades on, and obviously the love that you guys receive as a result of that.
Go ahead, Heidi.
Oh yes, absolutely. Completely shocked, completely surprised, and very pleasantly so. And if you've never heard me say it before, hear it now. That I brag about it every opportunity I get because it's so great. I mean,
It really is.
yeah.
This is the one big warm fuzzy in my life.
Oh.
Seriously. I mean,
awesome.
because I'm, even though I still do stand up and I still do voiceover, I don't get recognition for those things.
Yeah.
Yet. I mean, I do stand up, but I'm just beginning to do stand up, so I don't get recognition for it. And it's just crazy to know that there are people out there who love this game and love what we did so much. It's astonishing to me. It's my one little taste of, as someone who's been kind of trying to be an actor his whole life. It's my one little taste of fame, and I can understand why people who get seriously famous can become changed by that, because it's like a drug. It feels very good to have people say, "Hey, you did a good job."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I assume it's praise of any kind is probably very addictive, and so yeah. What is Joe talking about? Joe, we don't know. He just goes on and on.
We understand, Joe. Oh, here we go. Here's another thing, Heidi.
Okay.
Now wait, hold on.
That's
Artie,
gonna
pause.
Yeah.
Pause for just a second.
Yes.
Did you notice, Heidi, that we were talking through it? But did you notice the little combination lock that he had to do with the colors and the shapes of the lanterns from the pool
I
hall?
noticed something, and I was wondering if that was related to
That
the
was
colors
how that all
and
came together, right?
Yep.
Oh, that's so.
356 were the numbers of the billiard balls. And 356 were the numbers on the keypad, but you had to know which order they were in.
Yeah.
Because it could be 653.
Which it was. Yep. It was that. It was.
Yeah, because
it
actually it can doesn't it? It can be different, can't it? Can't it be in different order?
It can be.
Oh, actually, it can be. You're absolutely right. Yes.
I think
But
it
still
might
relates to the
be.
balls.
Yeah, I think it might be in relation to difficulty settings. I'm not sure.
Oh, I see.
And also, it's
always those
platforms.
three.
It's
but
different across the. I'm sure it's different across the ports. So the GameCube version is different to the remaster. But I think Project Umbrella, certainly among others in the chat, can correct me if I'm wrong on that. I mean, I've got my own pool table at home, and I mean, I'm not saying for any moment that I set it up to be those pool table, to be like those pool balls, and I refuse to play on it. But
And so
Joe, we've got a question for you from coming in from Director Smiley that asks, "Who's your favorite stand-up comedian?"
Oh gosh, let me think. Oh, Kathleen Madigan.
She is wonderful.
Isn't she so funny?
Is that Lewis Black's friend?
Yes.
Yes.
I love them both. They're so great.
She's
would
so
have
great.
to say
But
she's
where's
fantastic.
she been? Huh?
I don't know. I watch her videos on YouTube. She's one of my favorites. She's probably in my top. She's at least in my top 10.
She is so funny.
She's fantastic. She was a cop.
No, I did not know that.
I had no idea on that.
She was a police officer for like 20 years. Or something like that. I mean, a long time. She was a police officer for a long time, and then she got into... And, fact check me on that, but I believe that's true.
Well, I'm surprised I'd never heard that in any of her routines. And I think I've seen pretty much everything. And actually, there's a comedy club around the corner where I live, and I've seen her there like 3 times, and she's so good. But
which club is it?
The Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hermosa Beach, right.
Yeah. So great. It's so great. So I really miss her. I wish that she was coming out with some new material. And actually, go ahead.
No.
I'm looking at her Wikipedia page, and it doesn't say anything about her.
And so my husband and I will watch. We like to watch comedy, and we like Bill Burr. He's pretty funny.
Fantastic. Do you listen to his podcast?
And he's actually friends, or he was neighbors with my friend Quentin Flynn. He said he's just like that when he lived next to him.
Oh wow!
Yeah. But a lot of the comedy specials I see, they're just not funny. They're famous names, and they are not funny. And we're like, well, how did this get on TV? I don't understand. This is not.
That is a very good question. I'd like to go back though to answering who my favorite comedian is, and this is a bit controversial because some people like him, some people don't. But my hero since I was young has always been Robin Williams.
Oh yeah.
And it's for a good reason, because my biggest influence in comedy, in wanting to be a comic, is Jonathan Winters. Just like Robin was. And to see the two of them work together was just magic. I mean, if you go on YouTube and look, some of Robin's early performances and some of his interviews, like being on Carson with with Jonathan Winters. I mean, it's so funny, and they're so fast, and they make stuff up so bloody quickly. It's astonishing to me. Jonathan was the big influence for me getting in, and I got to meet him several years ago. I was working with a gentleman named Chris Wilkinson, who is a screenwriter, friend of mine. He's like my big brother. And we were pitching to Jonathan Winters' company, his people, to do his life story. And we got the opportunity to go up to his house up in Santa Barbara and spend the day with him and interview him and pitch him our idea. He really liked the idea for the format that we had come up with. And so we got to sit and spend the day with him and talk to him and go out to lunch with him. And it was just, I mean, I get chills just thinking about that time. It was so fantastic.
Wow. That's so
he
exciting.
He was amazing. And then, we didn't get a chance to, for a number of reasons. And then he passed away, a couple of years after that. And it was just, everything was too late. But he was the man. He was the man.
So what was his overall response to your project idea?
Oh, he liked it very much. The concept was that we wanted to do his life story from the viewpoint of him being in a mental hospital. He he committed himself to a mental hospital when he was younger because he felt like he was cracking up and needed some help. So our idea was to do his life story as seen from the point of view of him sitting in this mental hospital.
Okay.
And the thing that was most amazing about me was how fast he went from being funny to being immensely dark. I mean, he would be joking around and doing voices and doing Maud Frickert and all this, and then he would start telling us about his family life or his mom or his dad. And when this guy went dark, his whole demeanor, his body, his face, everything just sunk into the ground. And
so he had a dark childhood?
Yeah, he really did. He really did. He told us a story. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this live on a podcast. He told us some stories about growing up, especially one story about him going away to Korea in the Marines, to the Korean War. And how, I won't go into details, but let's just say his family, especially his mom, didn't treat him very well over that. But I should probably not talk. That's a big plant. Look, there's a big plant.
That's a plant?
Yep, and I just used a chemical on it called the V-Jolt, which is supposed to kill the plant.
And that's why it kind of sucked back up into the
it withered away
ceiling?
back into the vent. Yeah.
And we didn't get.
Do you remember the room with the combination on it? That the room with the combination thing on it was a chemical room that you had to mix up this chemical called the V-Jolt to go downstairs and spray it on this plant.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
You have a great scene with that plant, don't you, Joe?
I do.
He does.
There's a scene, Heidi.
Jill's also going to have a great scene with that because I used the V-Jolt. That's why I took the extra time to do it.
Sweet.
Joe, didn't you say that was one of the rest you got to see the scene before you actually did the voice?
Yes, exactly. That was the scene where they had the video, and I had to match. When Chris gets picked up by one of the arms of the plant and thrown around the room, I had to match the timing of him being thrown around. That was very challenging.
And so you got to see these exact rooms and everything?
Just the one main room where the plant is. We haven't actually been to. Artie, we have not.
No, we haven't been there yet.
And Heidi,
we're going there right now.
We've got more of a Heidi. We've got more of a comment engagement with a fan rather than the question from the Lunars. Not
the Lunar Sin.
the Lunar Sin. Lunar Sin. She says, not really a question, but can we tell Heidi that I'm really happy to hear that she loves Jill. Her character has been a favourite of mine since I was a little girl and influenced me a lot as a woman.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I'd be interested to know how she was influential in her life, because it's it's interesting for me to watch Jill and just go around doing all these incredibly brave things, that I as Heidi could never do in my own life. And so I'd be interested to know how this character influenced her in her life.
Oh, well, we'll definitely pass that on, because we'll keep an eye on live chat for that, and then at least I'll get a chance to pronounce her name correctly next time.
Okay. Before I go
Joe,
before I go into this room, because this is going to be a scene, I just want to take the time to also shout out to everybody in the chat, because once again, we have quite the variety of fans. We've got members of Project Umbrella, we've got Resident Evil Database, we've got Residents of Evil. We've even got members of the Resident Evil modding community.
Sweet.
Yeah, and also I saw in there, I'm not sure if he's still there, but there's a childhood friend of mine, Kevin Pinkoski, who also showed up in the chat and was talking with the fans. So wonderful. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining.
I love Kevin. Kevin's the greatest guy. I haven't seen him in so long. I'm kidding. So, to the modders, I would love to. I really, I'm a 3D modeler myself, and have worked on a lot of different movies and projects and video games, and would love to do some modding with y'all. So let me know. Yep.
Absolutely. If anybody has any questions about that for Joe, he'd be willing to answer them as well.
Absolutely. Yep. Any modeling questions or texturing questions? That's probably boring as paint drying to the rest of you.
See, I like how there's some kind of a light coming in through the left side of the room. Is that moonlight?
It is
coming through the windows.
I'm wondering. Yeah, there's a reflection also of the light, the lamp on the desk as well, in the window.
Oh, there's a reflection in the...
Yeah, but there also is definitely moonlight. A swarm of angry moths, not just moths, angry moths.
At least if you listen really closely, you can. Damn it!
I was just going to ask Joe one quick thing. I'm sure he'd at least be chuffed to be asked. BSAR, Andrew, Joey, he wanted to ask, have any fans ever told you that you're breathtaking?
Oh.
Have any fans ever
told me? That's a compliment.
Nobody's ever told me that.
You get the subtext.
I'm hoping that it's not due to my lack of hygiene that I'm breathtaking.
You've seen those baths in the Spencer Mansion, haven't you?
Right, exactly.
Well, then allow me to take a second to say both Joe and Heidi, you're breathtaking.
There we go.
That's nice.
You're such a crawler.
You hush, you George Trevor. Okay, what do you say we finally go into this room?
Okay.
Let's do it. Hold on to your shorts, everybody.
And this is a cutscene?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the hell is this thing? Barry! Jill!
thought it was finished.
Yeah.
That was close. Thanks again.
Don't mention it. But what was that? What the hell's going on in this place?
Barry.
Something about that mansion still bothers me. I don't wanna stay here any longer. We should split up again and investigate.
All right.
Split up. Just yeah.
Did
It's
he
okay.
just say
It's all right.
split up again?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
And you were just like, okay, all right, let's split up.
I know. What is he talking about? They should be going. Oh my gosh. Barry is keeping an eye on the surrounding area. Oh, okay. All right. You go. And I'll keep an
boy.
eye on the surrounding area.
Good thing. Thank God for Barry.
I think Barry's
You know,
trying to get
watch
to
the
the.
surrounding area.
I think
So-
he's trying to get to the root of the problem there.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
that's a Chris line, John. Come on.
I know.
All right. So is he sending Jill off so that she will perish? Is that what he's trying to do? Trying to kill her by sending her away?
Well, you've got good intuition. Maybe not. Yeah, he is a little suspicious, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got another cutscene.
And who was he talking to earlier? That's what I want to know.
Wesker.
Well, we're gonna find out right now.
So you're safe.
That's what I was going to say.
I apologize. It was all I could do to protect myself against those strange creatures.
I understand. Anyway, it's good that you're safe.
Did you notice? Barry, you sounded a little flaky.
Now that you mention it, yeah. I'll keep a close eye.
Maybe it's quite natural under these circumstances. It's not really our standard operation. Jill, our first priority is to get out of here.
I agree.
I wish Peter was here.
In that mansion we can't get into because they're locked up. I've been looking for ways to...
Okay, if there's anything, I'll go back to the other mansion.
I'm counting on you.
Yay!
Joe and Heidi, we've got a question from Distant Memories 96, and I know that you've just incredibly generously done this for us. The file readings where you've taken files by Chris and
Oh,
Joe,
yeah.
and you've read them in character, and Heidi, you've read one of our translations of a sound drama starring Jill Valentine, The Machova Village Tragedy, and you've read that in character for us. And Joe, of course, you've read Chris's diary and files that Chris Redfield that can be found in Resident Evil 2. You've read those as well in character. So Distant Memories just wondered how you feel about doing those character readings.
Oh, they were fun. They were fun. I mean, I do feel, knowing that this is a popular game and knowing it's a popular character, I did, invest some time into doing it, because I know that there are people who really care about it. So a little, just wanted to be sure I got it right. And I hope I got it right.
Oh, absolutely. It came through in your performance, 100%. They're beautiful, the file readings that you did for us.
Oh, thank you.
And I just really like doing them. I mean, I'm that much of a ham. I will pretty much do whatever you guys want. So.
Be careful, Joe. We'll start getting you to do cosplay.
Oh man, you guys have
I'm
talked
too
about
old.
that on the podcast before.
I could be older, 20 years older, Chris Redfield.
Oh wait, hold on, Joe.
Jill.
Here we go, another one.
Does anybody hear me?
I hear you, Brad. Over.
Stars Alpha Team. Bravo Team. Doesn't matter. Respond. I repeat, this is Brad.
Brad? Brad.
This is Brad. If you can't answer me, somehow give me a sign.
Jill to Brad. Can you hear me? Brad. Brad. Shit. It's broken.
What a potty
Jill,
mouth.
really? This is a family game about zombies and death.
Okay, so she's going back to the mansion?
Yes.
Well, what it is now, Heidi, that we've got a key. So that's kind of opened up the mansion to now further areas that we can explore with this key that opens up other doors that before we'd pick that up were locked to us.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of one of the cool things about this game is you can play this game for in a completely different part of the game, and you'll find a clue, something back in the original mansion. It's they really didn't localize all of the puzzles area.
And Joe,
you
where
have
the
to chase.
inspiration for that comes from?
No, I don't. Where?
I read years ago. You have Dungeons and Dragons, and
Sure.
I think sort of Dungeons and Dragons, for those like me that didn't really have any friends, you had the role play, which were like solo games.
Oh my god!
And so it was like you had like, do you want to open the door, turn to page 30, or do you want to go on down the corridor, turn to page 32? And there were these role playing books. And I read one. They were kind of in the style of Lord of the Rings, wizards and things like that. But one came out which was called House. One came out that was called House of Hell, and it was very much set in a spooky mansion. And you went and you traversed your way through this mansion, and you would find items that would then allow you to solve certain puzzles. And I remember years later when I played Remake, thinking, this kind of reminds me of House of Hell. And anyway, some years later on from that, a few years ago, in an interview, it came out the writer Iowa-san, who wrote the narrative for Resident Evil, actually said that, and I think Mikami-san as well, that the inspiration for Spence Mansion, that one of the many inspirations, but was that book that they actually had read themselves back in Japan, a translation of that book. And so I think that's why you can kind of get that sort of role play exploration thing with the items that open up further routes to you.
And so this was a book for Dungeons and Dragons?
It was like a Dungeons and Dragons style book. It was a role-playing book. So it was like a choose-your-own-adventure book. It's in the Fighting Fantasy series by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. It's called House of Hell. And it was kind of an adventure book where you would choose which way you would go, depending on, there was a narrative, and you could turn to a different page depending on which choice you made.
That's interesting.
I have to interject. We are back in the mansion now, and we are not alone. We are not alone.
Oh.
I love the way it dies like that.
And so we didn't see its head. Did we not see its head?
It's there, but the way that the camera angles are, it cuts it off. You'll see more of them, plenty more.
He comes back, or there's just more creatures like this?
There's more creatures like this.
You just hear the footsteps.
Oh gosh.
No, I'm not using one of those first aid sprays.
Yes, they do have a unique way of dying, Paul, don't they?
Yeah.
Where they convulse.
Almost a diva-ish performance, I think.
Writhing in
Yeah. And then the other one flopped upside, face down. That was interesting.
And I think Artie, I'm sure, will put this into practice. If you're sort of creeping around a corner and they can't see you, you just kind of get this clicking noise, and it's just really tense. It's again really part of the atmosphere of the mansion.
Those creatures make a clicking noise?
Well, you can kind of hear it, yeah, and it's so terrifying, and just with one more move, they're going to hear you.
Oh.
Artie, you've had a request from Project Umbrella Podcast. Can we find the Red Hunter?
Yes, we could try. We could try and find the red one. Yeah.
I had a question for both of you guys just from a little earlier. It's from Kendo's Meme Shop. He was just inquiring as to what would you say is your or has been your hardest voice acting job?
I think mine was definitely Lord of the Rings. I did the part of Gimli, which, as you know, is an angry Scottish dwarf. So I had,
Could you do a rendition, Joe?
well, I have to warm up into him because it's really taxing on my larynx. But I mean, he's nobody tosses a dwarf. That's kind of his
Oh,
deal.
Impressive.
yeah, that sounds like it would really hurt to do it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my! Why am I missing him?
Oh.
Ah.
There you go.
So did I put him out of his misery?
But
Well,
you know, Artie, that's one of the things I
first
love
time.
about this game is the random nature of.
Yeah.
I mean, I've shot zombies before and literally put them down with 2 bullets, and then again you're like unleashing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shots into them, and they're still coming at you. And that's again the extra tension. And so many times, I'm sure other gamers have died where you're almost lulled into a false sense of security by presuming that 6 or 7 shots is enough, and sometimes it isn't.
Yeah, and sometimes even if you point the gun up with a shotgun like that, it still doesn't want to give you the headshot.
Well, I think that's more timing and down to you not being very good.
Well, I think that was very cheeky of you, Paul, and you should take that back.
Hey, we've got another file. We've got another file for the guys.
You know what? This is a good one. This is a very good one.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, I'm ready.
Go for it.
Is this a George Trevor file?
I think we should have George Trevor read it.
Yeah,
do
where's-
it.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
George Trevor's diary. It says at the bottom.
I would love
Come
to
on,
read it, but
Paul.
can you imagine seriously how much you're going to piss off the people tuning in if they to me when they could be listening to you guys? So I promise I'll read it, but you guys have got to read it seriously. We're going to get so many dislikes.
No. This is it. Don't even talk your way out of this one. Do it right now.
Well, I tell you what, we'll let Joe and Heidi do a page, and I'll do the last page.
Okay. Go ahead, Heidi. Anybody?
Did Heidi drop out?
Oh, I think she might have. Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
dropped, so I'm back.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Heidi, we've
So
given
am I
you the first page.
Okay, nothing's changed. I never thought that this room I designed as an experiment would pay off like this.
Joe?
I can hide here safely for a while. Because for a while? Why are you saying it like that? What? like while? Well, how do you say it? While? Why are you saying it like while?
This is blasphemy.
You're fired, Joe. You're fired, Joe.
No, because I can hide here safely for a while because nobody knows about the secret behind this painting. Not even Sir Spencer.
Dun, dun.
Painting of a mansion in the back of the art room.
Oh, there you go. You're off the hook, George.
Oh. Behind the painting. What's behind the painting?
Wow.
It's an ink ribbon.
If
That wasn't the
anyone wants to
painting.
go to, if anyone wants to go to the Crimson Head Elder website, Crimson Head dash, that's crimson-head.com. There's an article written about Trevor and that file.
Oh,
That's
really?
what That's what I needed.
But behind that painting, Joe, Heidi, I think that's where you can change your costumes, isn't it? That's kind of a hint alluding to the fact that behind that painting, that you have a key that you can unlock other costumes
Yep.
for the.
Oh, okay.
That's what it's for. Yep.
All right. A key behind the painting. Intriguing. And who would then? So, do we know who these people are that we just killed? That I just zombie that I just killed.
Yeah, they're members of Umbrella.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't get specific names. I mean, we get specific names in files, but we don't typically get specific names of you won't see a name tag on any of them in this one.
Okay.
And just to say, Heidi, it's not a key behind the painting. I didn't explain it well. It's a key that you get if you complete the game once, like as a bonus for you playing the game. You have a key in your locker in the item box for when you play the game around for a second time, and you can take that key, and it's like a secret door. You can take that to the painting, and it opens it up into like a kind of a little secret room where you can change your
Little
costume.
closet. Yeah.
And you can only get there if you completed the game well.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to complete the game once, yeah, at least once on one of the difficulty settings to get that key.
Okay, I'm gonna geek out again. All that artwork on the
Yeah.
walls.
Yes.
I love it. Who spent
that amazing?
days and hours and weeks, painting this, and then the portraits from the other room. I mean, come on.
It's
I
fantastic.
honestly should be examining more of these. I'm shortchanging you on that. Maybe I'll do that as we go along again.
It's interesting that you say that, Heidi, because another UK gamer, one of your fans in the live chat, was going to ask, wanted us to point out, the detail in the paintings and wondered what you thought of those.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the female portraits in the other room. I didn't say anything, but it's interesting that we've got the sword fighting over here in this room. What does that tell us?
To a puzzle. If Heidi
That was
goes
the puzzle.
and shows you again.
Yeah, that was the puzzle of the grandfather clock when we got the key to the attic where you fought the snake. It was alluding to, I guess, the colors maybe of what they're wearing were also the hands on the grandfather clock to unlock the puzzle for the key.
It was where the swords go. You've got one sword that goes to the head and one sword that goes to the body.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
And how does that relate to the clock?
I think one's representing, because if you look on the clock, there's
there's
like a knight's helmet, and then there's
the head.
Uh-huh.
It's like cryptic stuff. This stuff had to make this type of gameplay had to make you think back then. I don't know if it's as complicated, but the cryptic messages always play into a puzzle. And I can't examine the clock, but it had something to do with where the swords were.
On the clock.
Yeah, the pictures on the clock.
There was like a breastplate, and then on one of the numbers, Heidi was like, getting breastplate. The guy that was getting injured, pierced through the stomach. So you just then put the handles to kind of, make the clock represent what's happening in the painting.
I'm confused, but that's all right.
I think we should.
Yeah, I was thinking, Heidi, you really need to. And you're not. I don't think that you're getting the essence of the game because you're not actually solving any of the puzzles. You're just watching us do it for you.
Yeah. Yes.
I think
yes.
If you get a chance at all to pick up the game and actually play through it, you'll appreciate the quality of these puzzles a little more. Some of them, I mean, literally, I would be locked out of this game for days at a time because I would be stuck at a certain point.
Really?
And not able to figure out. And then, but you just keep going back and replaying and replaying and retrying this and trying that. And eventually you will probably come up with the answer. And if you don't, there's a bunch of online resources you can ask questions to help. But that's the essence of the game. I mean, us sitting here playing through it and making jokes and kind of watching someone else do it is you're really only experiencing 30% of the game. It really is that the level of difficulty in the puzzles that can become consuming. It can really become something that you become involved with on different levels, emotional levels, intellectual levels. It's
and some of them are more straightforward than others. Like this one right here, a tiger glowing with blue and yellow light. So I've got a blue gemstone here.
Mm-hmm.
That leads you to believe that if that works, the other one's going to be a yellow gemstone then. And you got to find that one and put it in the other eye socket.
Oh, you put it in the eye socket.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do,
Yes.
And Heidi, I just wanted to mention to you as well because Andrew reminded me in the chat. But in obviously a lot of the paintings, portraits that we're seeing in this game, not all of them, but many, if not most of them, are actually based on real paintings, as in the real world. So you could, they're not just within the Resident Evil game themselves. They've obviously sort of influenced the developers, from the real world to put them into the game. If you see what.
Oh.
And
that's amazing.
I just want to draw your attention to down the hall here. Do you notice something?
Oh yes. What is that?
That, if I walk over it, is a Crimson Head, because you could tell that his V-Act mutation has occurred. because he's got the bloodshot red skin, and he's got the claws from his fingernails extending.
Heidi, I know what you're thinking. You're
Yes.
thinking, well, Archie, why the hell didn't you burn him beforehand to stop that race?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, I didn't go into this room beforehand, but this room has it's a very iconic area. I actually did a voice recording for this file, The Keeper's Diary.
Why don't you do
Okay.
it? Go ahead, Artie.
And
Let's hear it.
It's one of the most iconic files in the series because of a description as the pages go on. You want me to read this whole thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Here it is. Okay, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the vocal stylings of Artie Scarano. Take it away, Artie.
May 9th, 1998. Played poker tonight with Scott and Alias from security and Steve from research. Steve was the big winner, but I think he was a cheating scumbag. May 10th, 1998. One of the higher-ups assigned me to take care of a new creature. It looks like a skinned gorilla. Feeding instructions were to give it live animals. When I threw in a pig, the creature seemed to play with it, tearing off the pig's legs and pulling out the guts before it actually started eating.
Nice.
May 11th, 1998. Around 5 a.m., Scott woke me up and scared the shit out of me, too. He was wearing a protective suit. He handed me another one and told me to put it on. Said there'd been an accident in the basement lab. I just knew something like this would happen. Those bastards in research never sleep, even on holiday. May 12th, 1998. I've been wearing this damn spacesuit since yesterday. My skin's getting grimy and feels itchy all over. The goddamn dogs have been looking at me funny, so I decided not to feed them today. Screw them. May 13th, 1998. Went to the infirmary because my back is all swollen and feels itchy. They put a big bandage on it and told me I didn't need to wear spacesuit is in the original game. I didn't need to wear the suit anymore. All I want to do is just sleep. May 14th, 1998. Found another big blister on my foot this morning. I ended up dragging my foot all the way to the dog's pen. They were quiet all day, which is weird. Then I realized some of them had escaped. Maybe this is their way of getting back at me for not feeding them the last 3 days. If anybody finds out, I'll have my head handed to me. May 16th, 1998. Rumors going around that a researcher who tried to escape the estate last night was shot. My entire body feels hot and itchy, and I'm sweating all the time now. I scratched the swelling on my arm, and a piece of rotten flesh just dropped off. What the hell is happening to me?
Menopause.
May 19th, 1998. Fever gone, but itchy. Today hungry and eat doggy food. May 21st, 1998. Itchy Scott came. Ugly face, so killed him. Tasty. 4. Itchy. Tasty.
Very good. Very good.
I can't believe you guys tolerated that. Thank you so much.
That is traumatic.
I've got something to tell you. I'm afraid the live stream went off just before you started.
Oh, did it?
Oh, no!
Are you sure?
No, I'm only joking.
Oh.
But I was going to say, Artie, from the chat, you did mess up on that spacesuit line, so you have to start again, I'm afraid.
Oh, my God. I believe that this individual right here is the keeper coming out of the closet.
That's the dog keeper?
I think that's the keeper,
tasty.
yeah.
Itchy, tasty. Oh.
And then who's that?
That was, I don't know, maybe just another employee hiding with him or something. I don't know.
He was inspired by your reading. He just wanted to give you a hug.
It was the keeper's brother.
Heidi and Joe, we've got a question from Luna
not
in
my
the
brother's
studios
Okay.
on that subject of voice acting.
Just
from Luna
just
in the
before you
studios.
do that, George, I just want to thank everybody because they're currently heavily praising me, which I don't deserve, and I really appreciate it for the reading. So thank you.
Yes, you do. God, I'm telling you, man. We got to get your demo reel done, and we got to get you an agent. I'm serious.
I would love that so much. Thank you. Let's talk shop.
Okay.
Well, you certainly could have improved on the original Artie. All joking aside, you obviously really could have done and you know, a question that's on that from Luna Indie Studios. Heidi and Joe, have you? Because he mentions you've very much improved upon the original performances. Have you guys heard the voice dialogue from the original '96 game?
Yes, I have.
And you played that game as well, didn't you, Joe?
Yes, I did. It's very. I mean, it's really not very good. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, it is the game, but it's the vocal performances, and I have a feeling that what happened there, you know, it was. I think we've already talked about this in past podcasts. Is that in the early days of video game production, a lot of the voiceover work was done by just employees of the company or the developers of the games. It wasn't done by professional actors.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, early video games. A lot of the times, the companies didn't want to spend money to pay for professional actors, so they just got people who were working at the company or working on the game to come in and do the voices. They didn't actually hire voiceover people.
Didn't know.
I don't know that was the case with the first pass of Resident Evil, but
I have to interject, Joe. I don't know if you guys heard. I don't know if you guys heard any movement going on in this room in the background. Some sliding around or slithering. There's a reason for that.
Here it comes. Oh, that's right. I remember this part.
You can shoot him here, Artie, and sort of get a few bonus shots in.
I can, but I won't.
Spiders and snakes, man. Looks like a massive ball python by the shape of it.
It is definitely a python because it's got the fangs. I wouldn't say it's an anaconda.
A question from Yoke, Heidi or Joe. Have you either of you read the novelization of the Resident Evil narrative by S.D. Perry, the Resident Evil books?
No, I would love to, though.
I did not know there was such a thing.
Yes, we've been lucky enough to interview her, and they're very popular, actually, and they do stick very much, in comparison to the Paul Anderson movies, they very much do stick to the narratives and improve upon the biographies of the characters.
How do we get a hold of those?
Oh, just on Amazon. I'm sure they're available. Yeah, and all local good bookshops. But they're
other consumers are available.
And so, and to answer the previous question, because I got cut out again. I keep coming in and out of reception here, but so I did hear some of the cutscenes from the original game. That was only just a couple years ago when Paul told me about them. So, yes.
Okay.
What did you think?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say, Joe, because it's like you say, you don't know the background of where this whole production came from. Were these actual actors? Were they just people filling in and didn't know their voices were going to be used? It could be a whole variety of things. So I don't want to judge at all. And it definitely, a lot of the responsibility relies on the people who produced it. They should have, worked with the actors some more to get more of what they needed. So
yeah, and I think there was a style. There was it was almost a an anime style.
Oh, is that right?
Of reading, kind of an early anime style.
Mm-hmm.
Also think about this, because the producers were Japanese. I hate this area. There were probably also language barrier problems. If you read the dialogue, some of the dialogue is stilted and doesn't really sound like the way American English would be utilized.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that that's just because it was translated. The script was probably written by a Japanese translator from Japanese text. So that may have had some influence on the way it sounded. Well,
Okay, so this is another iconic room because it has arguably the most game-changing file, the most important file, mailed to the Chief of Security.
That. Okay.
Yes. Chief of Security, July 22nd, 1998. X day is drawing upon us. Execute the following procedures within 1 week. Prompt actions are demanded. 1. Lure stars to the estate and obtain BOW's raw combat data against stars. 2. Collect 2 embryos of each mutated specimens as samples, excluding the tyrant. Dispose of the tyrant. 3. Ensure complete disposal of the Arcway laboratory, including all personnel and test animals. Disguise their deaths as an accident. When the above procedures are executed, report to headquarters for further instructions. If for some reason you are unable to execute the procedure by the deadline, report immediately. In case of emergency situations, report directly to extension number 5691. Good luck, Umbrella Headquarters, Umbrella Inc. We've got a traitor.
The whole thing was a setup. It was all.
So now does she know this? So Jill knows this.
Jill knows that somebody's a turncoat.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
We've got a question from Bloody Eye, who I'm sure you'll remember, Heidi and Joe as well, because it's Jerry from Missouri. Bloody Eye's asked some fantastic questions. I think I remember, Heidi, in fact, you commenting on liking his name, his avatar name, when he provided our interview with some questions. But he wants to know, Joe and Heidi, I think maybe mainly for Joe, because you've seen, Joe, the original game, what you thought of the live action introduction to that game.
The live action introduction.
Yeah, the
opening of the game.
Yes.
I haven't actually seen that part. I haven't actually seen it. I haven't played the original game. I've only seen some video files from the middle of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
Okay, will be interesting to see, again, a representation of Chris Redfield and a live action one. So we'll send you the link to show you guys.
Was that online? Is that on YouTube somewhere?
Yeah, but it's the intro for the original game. You have like the introduction of the stars. So you have actors playing the role of Rebecca, Chris.
Oh,
Jill.
Really?
Yeah, and you see that scene that is FMV in the remake of them running through the Arkley forest. Head to that mansion. That's actually played out by live actors in the original game.
Oh my gosh!
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe if we can try and show you that link. We'll definitely show you that before part 3, and then maybe if you don't mind, we'll have you guys can comment on that, because it's quite interesting.
Okay, yeah. Does that have the original actor? What was his name? Michael Filipowicz that played Resident. Is that him?
Well, these guys, there's almost a website dedicated to the intrigue surrounding these actors that gave pseudonyms, and some are very hard, particularly the Jill Valentine actress is almost because there was that excitement, Heidi, when we initially thought that it may have been yourself that played that role, and no, they didn't then go on to voice the characters during the game. I think they're very much, and again, someone in live chat can correct me if I'm mistaken, they were just exclusive to that live action introduction.
Oh, you know what? I'm just looking at YouTube, and it says there's a thing, Resident Evil PS1, behind the scenes of the live action intro.
Oh, wow.
There's like a making of.
Oh, yes. That's
wait a minute. Hold on. Quiet. Okay, I turned the sound off. Oh my gosh. I had no idea. Yeah, if you just look on YouTube, there's the whole making of that opening. Okay, I'll watch that later. That's crazy.
Yeah.
How cool.
So that key that I just got, the emblem key, it has it's the markings of the Spencer family crest, which it says it's the family's history is as old as Raccoon City itself.
Going back to those actors, Kendo Meme Shops pointed out, Joe and Heidi, from that live action, that Greg, who was Barry's actor, was walking by on the street, and they saw him and literally just thought he looks like Barry. He was a school teacher. Yeah, he's quite correct. Thank you, Kendo Meme Shop. This chap was a school teacher in New Zealand, not even an actor.
No kidding.
I think I remember
that's
something
crazy.
about this. This is sounding vaguely familiar. I think we talked about this a little bit before, but I don't think I understood that they were live action actors at the beginning of that game. That's fascinating.
Heidi, can I just?
I can't wait to watch that now.
And Heidi and Joe, just to give you an idea that, you know, we get congratulations, but it's all down to you guys. And none of it could be done without you, because thanks so much. Stars Tyrants just said that he doesn't have a question. And I've just missed the live chat. You guys know this is live.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Thanks for making this happen. This is a very special stream for the community, and that we should be very proud of ourselves. Thank you, Sean. But, you know, we couldn't do this without the generosity of Heidi and Joe.
Oh yeah. Oh, good. It's
Absolutely.
a pleasure to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? I am so happy and proud to feel like I'm a part of this community. Like, you know, I'm right there with you guys, the fans. Being a huge fan of the game, I just feel like, you know, the fact that I did one of the voices is an aside for me. I'm just happy to be a part of the group. So.
Oh.
Because I don't have any other friends. Nobody likes me.
There it is. We knew that was coming.
I don't smell good.
Monique says something in the chat. She said, "Joe, you owe me something."
Oh, what is that?
What would that be, Monique? Can you reveal that?
A sound file that I told her I would record like 2 years ago.
Oh, are you serious?
No.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Listen, I'll say this, Monique. I'm going home to Los Angeles. My job here in Montreal is returning to Los Angeles, and I'll have a recording studio again. So I will get that sound file to you. I promise. The entire community can hold me to that promise.
And so, do you have a recording studio in your house?
Oh yeah, it's just our third bedroom.
Okay.
You know, turned the closet into a sound booth.
Okay.
That's how I do all my auditions from there.
And Joe, can I just ask, what are you doing a in-character reading for Monique?
Yes.
Because I have to say, we often, and I do as well personally, get a lot of comments about, you know, Crimson Head Elder, and we do these file readings, and, you know, how do we manage to get, you know, these actors to do these in-character readings? And they're one of the most special things that we ever can do. But I have to say, I got the idea from Monique when I years and years ago saw on her website, Resident Evil Database, that DC Douglas was reading Wesker's reports for Monique.
Oh, right.
Resident Evil Database. And at the time, I was tracking down another Jill Valentine actress, Catherine Disher, and playing the game and seeing this Jill Valentine's diary. I thought, oh wow, it would be incredible. You know, Monique's doing this with DC Douglas. Maybe if we could, you know, do this. And so, yeah, that idea, I have to say, I pinched for Monique at RE Database.
Well, it's a good idea, you know, and how fun is that? I love reprising the role. I'm certain that Capcom is never going to hire me again to do this part. And so
they
really,
should, man. They should.
Okay,
you know,
so
I made a suggestion to Paul once that, or actually, I think it was on a podcast. The suggestion that Capcom should make another Resident Evil based on this exact time zone, and I mean, not. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. They should redo this group of Resident Evil characters 20 years later. Where Chris Redfield is now, you know, it's 20 years. He's getting ready to retire. Jill is now the the person in charge of Raccoon PD or Star. She's in charge of the thing, and they have to. But she's ready to retire too, so there's a situation where they have to go in back to the Spencer Mansion. Obviously, is not there anymore because it gets blown up. But maybe there's something in that area. They find a new hidden, umbrella remnant laboratory or something. And Jill and Chris and Barry have to go back in for their last time, because maybe a group of trainees go in and they are never heard from. So the old guys and girls have to get together and go back there and solve the problem. I think that would be a great way for Heidi and I to get paid once again.
And there it is. Yeah.
And there it is, a pitch for.
We would love to hear both.
Would it be union? Would it be
Well,
union, Joe Whyte?
It would have to be.
That's questionable at this stage because I think Remake 2 wasn't union, or it started off not that way and then ended up being that way during the course.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
It started off non-union and they ended up bringing in union actors?
They ended up going union, the company, I believe.
Good. Well, they always should.
We've got a question from Madcap Productions, Heidi and Joe. Have you, I think, Joe, you may have done, have you ever met any of the other Resident Evil voice actors outside of Remake, such as Alison Court, Richard Waugh, Peter Jessup?
Peter Jessup, yeah. And Peter and I did that thing at Dirty Laundry, when Capcom re-released RE Remake. They had Peter and I go to that big party, in which absolutely no one spoke to us.
I would have loved to have been there. I wish I knew about it.
That would have made it. I think that if you had been there, we had people.
What am I doing with this puzzle?
Yeah.
I'm messing this puzzle up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everybody in the chat who's an expert. I'm messing this puzzle up completely.
Okay, so speaking of Capcom,
half paying
I
attention.
have a Capcom question. Oh, look, what did you just get?
A live bee from a specimen somehow.
Oh.
Resurrected.
You're in distress there, Heidi. You were in distress there, weren't you?
Heidi, you were going to ask a question.
I wanted to hear Jill's effort sounds.
Guys, I know, Joe. I was going to say this file that Artie's come across. We actually had this read in character by Ed Smaran, Barry Burton's actor.
Oh, really? That's so cool.
Not because he's the one who wrote it, but because his character is instrumental in a scene that's in this game. It's not always achievable to get this scene. Scenes are random, so we didn't get it. But he's in here reading it when Jill walks in on him. If you get that scene, and then you notice this part right here. A letter is slipped inside. The top part of the letter is torn off.
Could we ask you? Could we hand this over to Joe and Heidi maybe to read a little?
Hi, I just got cut off and back in again.
Okay. So Barry was instrumental in this file, Heidi. Not because his character wrote it, but because he was reading it when Jill walks in on him in a scene that you can achieve in this game, but we didn't do it because it's a randomized type of experience, I guess. So he's reading it, then you realize that the top part of the letter is torn off.
Oh.
So do you guys want to take turns reading it?
Sure.
You want to start, Joe?
Alma, I've tried to survive only to see you again. But my efforts only delayed the inevitable. I am infected. There is no cure for what will follow, except to end my life before I lose the only thing that separates me from them.
My love for you. In an hour, I'll have entered my eternal sleep where there is peace. Please understand. Please know that I'm sorry. Martin Crackhorn.
it kind of felt like a who's the great documentary maker that did the Civil War and
Ken Burns?
It kind of felt like a Ken Burns thing with the name
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
Artie, I'm sure I'm right in thinking the original letter, because I know when Ed read it, is much longer, much more detailed than that.
Yes, because
It's probably the untorn version.
It's the untorn version, which I think Chris can discover that. I think when you play as Jill, it's torn.
You're
the
absolutely
top half is
right.
torn off. Yeah.
Because I couldn't work out why it wasn't the original for him, but in like maybe the GameCube, and I wasn't sure if they changed it for the Master. So that is it. It's longer. Why would they do that? Because it's such a great file to have it longer when Chris finds it. That's interesting.
I guess to make it more suspicious, you know. Yeah, but it's only achievable in Chris's game. Just one of those things.
Guys, if I just interject with a quick question, from Isles 487, they say, so when reading some of the lines, bearing in mind that you didn't see the finished product at that point, did you ever wonder sometimes what possible context could someone use this line in?
Yes. Oh yeah. Did you have that experience, Heidi? I've actually had that experience in a lot of different voiceover sessions.
Where you said it, how can this ever actually work?
Oh well, yeah, that too. But it's because of the time constraints that production companies have doing it. Depending on who you are, they may not spend a lot of time giving you backstory and all that stuff. They just kind of want you to come in and do the lines and get out.
Yeah. Okay, and here again, look at the beautiful artwork they put on
It's
the
amazing.
walls, and then the statue. I mean, it's just, and the floor, the detail on the floor. I mean, just all of it. It's gorgeous. But I will say that the scene that we saw maybe, I don't know, 40 minutes ago with where Jill runs into Barry, and that all made sense to me now that I see it. I remember recording it and not really understanding what I was saying so much. But now, after having gone through what we've gone through in the mansion, I'm like, oh, now I see why she's saying what she's saying. Yeah.
Artie, if you can, just go up. Do you mind just go up to those paintings again and seeing if you can read one of the descriptions? Because on one of the angles, I mean, Heidi was mentioning how beautiful some of these scenes are, and particularly you get this in the remake, the detail in these paintings, and some of the Heidi, I have to say, the names they give you of these paintings or the descriptions are quite sinister.
No descriptions on these two, but it looks like there's a woman strangling a man in this one.
Looks like he was beheaded or something, and she's dealing with his head.
God,
Some of these Heidi's, most
that.
of these paintings are very famous, well-known paintings, because I know a community member, Ridley, and also Welsh and Newsbot as well, have sort of gone on the hunt and found the originals.
Oh my gosh, really?
Oh yeah, there are threads at Project Umbrella and at our website Crimson Head Elder where the artists and the original painting has been identified, and some of them are very, very famous artists, famous paintings.
Yeah.
I wonder how they got the rights to use the paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I just want to.
They did.
I just want to say something about this room really quick before we leave. As amazing and as beautiful as this room looks, I feel as though the room in the original is a better version, because in the room in the original, there's no sliding walls, which just seems random. It's a grand ballroom with the piano, and it's actually the room where you fight the snake the second time, as opposed to the library. It comes out of the fireplace, and it makes this hole in the ground. So storytelling wise, it seems to make a lot more sense. This seems a little bit random, but I just wanted to mention that just for trivia.
Oh, so she just went through the hole in the ground, and there's no explanation for it in this game?
In this game, yeah. Actually, Barry shows up in the original, and he throws a rope down for her to climb down, and then as soon as she climbs down, the rope drops.
Oh.
And he's like, now I've done it. I'm going to go get another rope. Hold on.
Well, it was the snake, the giant snake, which bit the hole in the floor in the original as well.
This is a very famous file.
Right. Oh yeah, this is the end to George Trevor's journey through the files.
Okay.
Hey, Paul,
you want to
read
go,
this
Joe?
one?
Oh, sure. No, yeah, no, let's have Paul read. Come on, Paul.
I can't get out. I've tried every possible way to escape, but only to be faced with the reality that I'm trapped. Was he a Cockney, George Trevor? I've been
Stay in character.
He is now.
the laboratory with those large glass tubes filled with formaldehyde and those dark, wet, and eerie caves. What can I do? At first, I didn't want to believe my eyes, but that familiar, high-heeled shoe in the corridor, it was like reflex. One name came to my mind. Jessica. I don't want to believe they share the same fate as me. No, I can't give up hope. I have to hope they're alive. I haven't had anything to eat or drink for the past few days. I feel like I'm going crazy. Why is this happening to me? Why do I have to die like this? I was too obsessed with designing this ghastly mansion. I should have known better. It was a dark and damp underground tunnel and another dead end. But even in the darkness, something caught my eye. Carefully, I lit the last match. I had to see what it was. A grave, but deeply engraved into the stone was my name?
Oh.
George Trevor. At that instant, it all became clear to me those bastards knew from the beginning that I'd die here, and I fell right into their trap. But it's too late now. I'm losing it. Everything is becoming so far away. Jessica, Lisa, forgive me. Because of my ego, I got both of you involved in this whole damn conspiracy. Forgive me. May God justify my death in exchange for your safety. George Trevor.
Wow, very good, Paul. That was great.
That was fantastic.
The whole time I was
That's
reading
my-
that, I'm just thinking.
And that was, look, that was right here. This is it. This is the gravestone.
Oh.
That was really good, Paul.
That was fantastic, Paul.
And so what about Lisa and Jessica?
Yes, well, there are files that tell us about their fate.
We'll
As
find
well.
out a little bit more later.
You're about to
later
say,
on in the game, won't we?
you're about to say something
Yeah.
about this, Paul, before we interjected?
Yeah, well, I think Heidi, you'll see Jessica later on in the game, and again, it's just one of the things that engaged me with it. Just so shocked at how terrifying and dramatic the narrative was, and so George Trevor's daughter that was incarcerated and experimented on. I mean, we've seen her before. She was in the cabin, and we'll be seeing her again. So we'll point her out, and you'll see her, and it's very sad, very tragic.
Damn.
And just very quickly going back to the paintings, we had a question. I think it was from Jerry from Bloody Eye. Apologies if it wasn't him, but Joe, as someone who's played this game, did you have any particular favorite painting that you've noticed that you've liked?
Oh golly, I can't think off the top of my head. I can't think. I liked paintings in the lights room with the crows.
Oh yeah, the way they were illuminated. Yeah.
Right, you had to change the different colored lamps. There were some paintings in there I really liked.
Well, there's a painting in there actually of Jessica Trevor, George's wife. She's the character that's wearing the I think it's the orange amulet and the green necklace.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's her.
Yeah,
really?
that's Jessica Trevor. Yeah.
That's what the portraits were of?
There's a portrait that at the very end you illuminate the as Joe said, you illuminate the screens, and then in line with a clue that's in that painting, and that's a painting of Jessica.
Yeah, no, there are some amazing. I mean, obviously, they were able to use, some very famous paintings, and I'm sure there's probably a Caravaggio or two in there. So maybe that would be a good idea. The art of Resident Evil. There should be a book.
And so the Resident Evil books, were those sanctioned by Capcom?
Yes, they were. I believe. I'm sure. Absolutely certain they were. Yes.
Okay.
Run,
So
Jill!
Heidi, I was going to say to Heidi, this was a question from another UK gamer. So having experienced all of this now, do you think you'll be picking up a copy and giving the remake a try?
I know, right? Well, we shall see. We shall see.
But your kids aren't your kids are gamers, aren't they, Heidi?
No, they're not. In
Okay.
fact, they had only played Lego Batman, and then my son went on from Lego Batman to NBA 2K, and he did that for a few years. And then recently, he just said, "It's making me too aggravated," and he just put it down.
Oh,
And so there's no
Well,
more
yeah.
gaming in my house.
sports games will do that to you. Yeah.
The what?
Sports, because I used to play a lot of football games. Sports games kind of will do that to you.
Do they?
Get you quite frustrated and yeah, particularly
Would
if
they-
you're playing as your team, engaging as the team that you support.
So yeah, I mean, like they make you feel like you're going to win the game, and then at the last minute you don't.
Oof.
Well, I think
That's
you
not
can. Sorry. Jim.
nicely done, Artie.
That zombie did not want to go down, man.
No, he did not.
It must have
But
taken like
again-
almost 20 bullets.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you'll come around the corner and there'll be one, and literally 2 bullets will knock him down.
Yeah. Look, like you examine things like this, the damaged statue of a goddess. Like there's just so many sculptures and paintings, so many things
Oh
that are just
yeah.
historic.
I'm always stuck on my inventory when I come in this room that I cannot pick everything up.
I know there's so
And you
many
know,
things in here.
It's interesting that this is made by a Japanese company because this is all, Western art.
Mm.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I may be wrong, but I think the premise to begin with, very much with the Japanese developers, was just wanting to have a narrative that can open up to a worldwide market, and I think
Sure.
they kind of I imagine see like the American trying to Americanize their narratives, and perhaps they feel with if they are, because there's a survival horror game, Blood Curse. Siren, Blood Curse, and the Siren series is perhaps not as well known as it should be, and that very much has more of a Japanese aesthetic and has very much more deeper Japanese themes and Japanese stories. So I think perhaps Resident Evil wouldn't have been open and wouldn't be talking about it now, if it hadn't had that kind of more American cinematic feel to it.
That's really interesting. I did a little bit of studying something, an Eastern story structure concept called, I hate this guy, called Kisho Tenketsu. If you get him. He's kicked it.
They both kicked it.
no,
Thank God.
Traditional Western storytelling, happens in 3 acts. And there's a particular structure to those 3 acts. And Asian storytelling often utilizes something called Kisho Tenketsu, which is a 4-act structure that is very particular to Asian cultures, Japanese cultures in particular. I believe Kisho Tenketsu is a Japanese term. And if you're a writer and you have been working in Western 3-act structure, take some time and look up Kisho Tenketsu, because it'll explain to you the difference between Western and Eastern story structure philosophies. There's a huge difference in how they deal with the concept of good and evil. So I'm wondering how much of that aesthetic was applied to the storytelling in this game. That the aesthetic in Kisho Tenketsu is that good and evil are pretty much the same thing. they're kind of like just different points of view, if you will. They don't judge evil the same way that Western societies judge evil or good. The other thing that's dramatically different about it is that we think of stories as having this very linear, this happens and then this happens, and excuse me, the main character does this and then this happens and that happens. In Nikishu Tenketsu's style, you can have a first act that doesn't seem to be connected to the second, and then the third act is something different together, and then the fourth act everything kind of gets tied together, and they don't always have a solid ending. They can leave something very much open to not like open to a sequel, but that you understand that stories continue after you've read a book or whatnot. The characters in that book go on to have
These monsters again.
They're called.
Yeah,
by
those
the
are
way,
the
I don't know if we mentioned them, Heidi. They're called hunters.
They're called what?
Hunters.
Hunters?
Yes.
Okay. The hunters.
It was fascinating listening to you, Joe, talking about that. We interviewed Angus Waycott, who is the voice actor for Morpheus Duval in Resident Evil game, and he lived most of his professional life in Japan, and was called upon to voice act initially because he was working in Japan and does Japanese translations. And he's spoken about what you were just saying, and the difference in the way that narratives aren't so linear in Japanese culture.
Japanese, yeah.
No, you're absolutely spot on. It was fascinating just sort of listening to your take on that. And I just, if I may quickly say, and let you in on this. Our second podcast, Crimson Head Elder podcast, our second one, fans can get on our website. Can find out more about that. Angus talks about the difference with Japanese narratives and how that has been influenced heavily, or maybe not so much in the Resident Evil series.
I'm going to check that out. I'd love to hear what he has to say about it. It's something I came across a couple of years ago. I was working at, actually a year ago now, I was working at a company in Hollywood as doing some modeling, but also doing some screenwriting for the company. And it was a Chinese company, and the script that they were working from was translated from Chinese, but it very much had a different structure feel to it. And what they were trying to do was make an American style animated feature film using the sensibilities from the Chinese storytelling methods. There are some novels in Chinese that are sort of the main, like the four corners of Chinese storytelling, and one of them is called Journey to the West, and they had taken some stories from this super compendium novel. It's actually comprised of many stories, and they were making what they were trying to do was make an American film based on these stories. And so the screenplay that I was given to do rewrites on had a very different structure to it, and I couldn't understand it at first. I was like, what are they trying to do here? And it felt like there was no structure at all. But then I started doing some research, and I started studying a little about Kisho Tenketsu, and I started to understand the differences, and was able to then codify, to take what they had done in that 4-act structure and recompile it into a kind of a Western 3-act standard structure that we recognize in most commercial films today.
It's really
and that was
interesting.
it was really, really an educational process for me.
For sure.
Okay. I love this shot, how we've got the window just kind of creeping in the wind, and the half-drank cup of coffee and the cigarette and the ashtray. I mean, just
You got the shadow of the trees on the back wall there.
yes.
What's quite clever, Heidi, the thing about this game that I love is the reason these backgrounds are so detailed is that they're fixed. As like Joe said, they're paintings. But what Capcom have done is, perhaps, maybe, I don't know, more modern younger gamers or people that get frustrated with the fixed camera angles. I want, maybe some more sort of interactive environmental features. They then, interject with these just little kind of extra things, like you say, the moving of the window there, and almost giving the impression that this is kind of a moving setting, when in fact the only things that are moving, that can move, is the character model of Jill, and then you've just got the windows there.
Right, slight
And
interaction.
the shadows of the trees back wall there really gives it life. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
And Heidi, the other thing as well, you can only do certain things by turning that light on. If you don't turn that light on, then it will say that you can't figure the drawer, because the text will tell you, that you can't see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Interesting.
also when you're leaving the mansion as well. I mean, when you're heading down the courtyard path, you can actually there's a beautiful shot of the mansion behind, which we saw in the last stream, and I believe it is this room, right, with the light shining through the window that you can kind of look back on.
Oh.
That's right. That's right. Because this is
That's
facing
cool.
the rear of the mansion. I just want to draw attention to this room because this is the room that I used the Spencer emblem key on. This is, it was never confirmed, but it's believed to be Oswell E. Spencer's study. The owner of the mansion.
Oh.
Found the
Oh,
umbrella.
okay.
Yes. So
Kendo's Meme Shop asks, Joe and Heidi, do you have your own YouTube channels, with your own demo reels and that sort of thing, where fans can find out more about you?
I don't have any acting things. I have some speeches that I've done recently and speeches of other friends that I've done recently. So I do technically have a YouTube channel, but there's not a bunch of stuff on it. Most of if you want to know what I've been up to lately is on our website, anightinjail.com, and in the blog menu item, there's a lot of things about articles that I've written, and I was just in Washington, D.C. a couple weeks ago, and a lot of the activism and that I've been involved in since writing the book. And so that really has the more up-to-date things. And then also I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, although so not any acting things anymore. But it's fun. I love acting, and sometimes I think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have a voiceover booth in my house so I could be like Joe Whyte and do some auditions like that, or go out again, and maybe once my son is out of high school and in college and stuff, I might think about that again.
But would I be right to think that fans can keep up with you at Twitter? And we'll certainly put a link to your website in the description for the upload of this video.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Twitter is my Resident Evil site now, because that's where I get definitely a lot of attention from Resident Evil fans, and that's so nice. I mean, I really appreciate it. I really love hearing from the Resident Evil community. It's so great.
we love hearing from
It
you.
is. I've got my little YouTube channel, Joe Whyte Comedy. If you look for Joe Whyte Comedy, you'll find it. And there's just a couple of videos up there so far of me doing stand-up. And I'm not what you would call, let's see, what would be the right word? I'm not what you would call good as a stand-up.
Joe.
Very humble of you there, Joe.
Joe, you need to get yourself a better agent.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm still working on it. I'm working on it. I've been doing it for about a year and a half now, so it takes a while to develop your style. I really don't know. I mean, I did improv for 35 years.
Yeah.
But I haven't really settled on what my identity is as a stand-up, as an individual. So there's there's videos of me. I'm hoping what I want to do is post videos over the course of a year or two or three or four, so that you can see the progression. Hopefully, I'll get better, and I think it would be very interesting to see, video of a person on stage from when they're just starting out doing stand up to when they start to develop their act and get that more solidified. So that's why I'm doing it. But they can check that out. I've also got Joe Whyte voiceover on Facebook. I think that's a public page, and then on Twitter I'm Whyte Words, WHYTE WORDS. That's my my Twitter handle. So I tweet all kinds of weird things. Doesn't necessarily have to do with Resident Evil. Sometimes I tweet political stuff. Hey, you know what? I'll come right out and say it. I'm a progressive liberal, and I'm not ashamed of that. And
Thanks, Joe. You've just earned us about 50 dislikes.
I know.
I'm only joking.
I know.
Only joking.
You know, the world is bifurcated. We are so separated
that's
in
kind
terms
the
of
point
politics these
making.
days, and it's ridiculous. It really is, because we're all after the same things. You know, we're all after love and security.
We're all humane. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We need to get the humanity back.
Bingo. It's exactly right. It's exactly right.
I met a lady last night who said that the political climate today is, she says it's exactly like what it was like in the 60s.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Interesting.
In terms of there being such a disparity between right and left in America.
Maybe so.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know, I grew up in the 60s. I was too young to be involved in politics, but I feel that you can, if you watch any of the great documentaries about the 60s that are out there, you'll see the same things happening. It's part of our evolution, and if we can survive it, we'll be better for it. Big question there is, can we survive it? And you know what? I'm going to stop talking about politics right now, because this should be about Resident Evil, not politics.
That's all right, Joe.
I could go on, but I won't.
I wonder what the politics were in the Umbrella Corporation.
Oh, nice segue.
I have an opinion on that, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to offend anybody.
I just think it's, we're all gods and everybody else needs to bow to us.
As the Umbrella, that's probably the motto of the Umbrella corporate leaders. What's the point of Umbrella? What does Umbrella want as a company? You know, what are they trying to achieve? World domination?
Oh, is that a hypothetical question, or do you want the nerdy answer?
Yeah.
I want the nerdy
We've got threads.
Give us the nerdy answer.
Go with the nerdy answer.
Wait, JC, a Project Umbrella still in the live chat. Can I get an answer from Project Umbrella, and I'll just copy and paste it, and then I'll read it out to Heidi and Joe.
By all means.
But no, initially it was Sir Spencer was very much and wanted a company almost as a front for his viral experiments. And the original progenitor virus, I think it was being developed as like an elixir, almost, you know, to develop these superhuman beings that would live forever.
Oh, I see.
That's initially how it started. So I may be wrong, but I don't believe it initially started very much as viral, BOWs for war, you know, to sell.
I see. So, but as always happens, the military.
So he got part of what he wanted. That people live forever, but as zombies.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. But now I thought that Jill had killed the snake before. Was this a different snake that came up and bit her?
Those are just the little snakes, yeah.
Okay.
And it
Oh, just-
poisoned her too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Just interesting fact, guys. Going back to that study, that Artie you mentioned was the Spencer study. Bloody Eye mentioned that Wesker Whyte in that study in the SDK's the novelization, her first book, Umbrella Conspiracy. Wesker Whyte's in that study in that book.
Oh, right. Yes, he does. Yeah, he's sneaking around.
I have to write down. I've got to read these things. What's her name again?
The initials SD Perry, Perry, and we've got a because I know you're one of our famous members, Joe. We've got an interview at the website with her, one of our transcribed interviews.
Oh, great!
Yeah, and just
That's
going
really
back to going back to Heidi and Joe, your YouTube channels and your Facebook and Twitter and Joe with the stand up, we'll put links so your fans can find all these
Oh,
platforms.
that's
And
nice.
we'll
Thank
put the links
you.
in the description for the video.
Thank
Excellent.
Oh, and thanks for giving a shout out for my book this last week. That was really nice of you guys to
Absolutely.
to help with that.
Oh, definitely.
What was it like being in DC with all that stuff? Did you meet with any Congress people or senators?
We met with health and drug advisors to 4 senators, and so that was really great. And for those people who don't know, I wrote a book with my brother about his true life experiences as a homeless drug addict with schizophrenia who went to jail 18 times. And the whole message behind this is that substance use can pull the trigger for mental illness. And a lot of people don't know this. People think, oh, mentally ill people use drugs, but it can go the other way too, where using drugs can create a mental illness. And a lot of people haven't heard about the association of marijuana to psychosis and schizophrenia. And so it's just one of those things that we just have to have out there. And Joe, I hear that in Canada, they have warning labels on marijuana packages that say warning can cause psychosis or schizophrenia. And in the same way that we package tobacco products, cigarettes saying warning can cause cancer. I mean, we should be doing the same thing here, talking about
Yeah,
the
we should
very
be.
serious, effects.
It's. I have a new name for cannabis. I call it Canadian air freshener.
Oh, is it just
Really?
everywhere?
Really?
Because it really is everywhere. And I mean, I take the metro, which is the subway here in Montreal, to work in the morning, and even 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, you get on the metro and you smell pot all the way through the train. It's amazing. It's absolutely everywhere.
And they let people do that? Smoke on the trains?
No, you're not supposed to.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah, in Amsterdam, a full, I can't remember if it's 25 or 50% of the new cases of schizophrenia have been attributed to cannabis. I mean,
Really?
that's
Wow.
yes. A study just came out just a couple months ago. So it was a big deal. It was in March actually that this came out. So and we don't track our cases of schizophrenia in our country. We just don't.
We don't.
No. So we
That's
just don't
interesting.
know. But what we do see is there's a lot more homeless people in states where it's legal, and there's no study directly correlating the two. But in my mind, if cannabis increases the risk for schizophrenia and schizophrenia increases the risk for homelessness, then isn't it fair to say then that cannabis increases the risk for homelessness? So no one said that technically, but that's what
Right.
I'm
That
guessing.
seems to be a logical progression.
Yeah. And then here we are going on to magic mushrooms in Oakland. I mean, my
Oh,
goodness.
that's right. Yeah, I've heard that. But those have been legal in Britain for a long time. I'd love to know what the data says about that in Britain. I was up in where was
Okay.
it?
I'm sorry, I have to
Oh,
interject.
go ahead.
We're coming on a very, very pivotal scene in the game.
Oh, great. Okay.
Oh, right. This is here.
Jill.
Is that voice Enrico's?
Yeah?
You're alive.
Stop. Are you with anybody, Jill?
No, but why?
The stars are finished. Someone is a traitor. Umbrella set us up.
Enrico! Traitor? Who?
Poor Enrico. He was the captain of the Bravo team.
Okay, but didn't she get a hint that there was a traitor from the letter that she saw?
Yes.
It's been building up to it, really.
Okay, so this just solidifies it.
He just confirmed it.
Okay.
And Heidi,
Well,
we're talking about your book, A Night in Jail, Distant Memories 1996. So I think you're connected with on Twitter. He writes fantastic fan fiction and is a big writer in the Resident Evil community. And he says that you're a huge inspiration to his writing. That's Distant Memories 1996.
Oh, isn't that so nice? Tell him
That's
thank
nice.
you so much. Yeah, he's got a real way with words. It's the things that I've read the comments that he's made have just been really very, very touching.
Oh, that's
So,
wonderful. Yeah, you've read his work.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, he's made some comments on Twitter, and I've been like, wow, that is so nice. Thank you. So his emotions are really well conveyed in his writing.
Oh, that's
And
fantastic.
I just think it's great that someone takes the narrative, and like I know with Distant Memories is kind of linked to the Spencer Mansion and Raccoon City, particularly around the sort of the Resident Evil 2 narrative. He takes those buildings and those environments that may have been kind of just forgotten and dusty and old, with the video game, becoming dated, but just so many players still playing the games and resonating with your performances, and then just expressed. That interest expressed through fan fiction with Distant Memories, and just keeping all these narratives alive and delving even deeper into these characters' biographies. It's fantastic.
Mm.
That's some more stuff I need to get turned on to.
Yes.
I'd
Now,
love to,
so
Okay.
you guys, I'm gonna need to be signing off in the
yes.
near future. So
How many minutes do
Archie,
you
I
have
was just
left,
going
Heidi?
to say, we're coming up to quite a good moment where we could end this and look forward to part 3 very soon.
Yes.
Great.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
Story.
quite arguably the one of the worst enemies in the series.
Oh. Da, 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 da.
There it is.
Nice moves, Heidi.
thank you. I don't remember doing those.
You're probably relieved you weren't doing the mocap there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna save one last time, and we will end it here.
We always joke about that boulder, don't we? Because in a metaphorical sense, the boulder does return in future installments.
Yes, it does.
It culminates with Chris in Resident Evil 5 punching it into a volcano.
Right. So ridiculous.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just in a
It's-
jokey way,
It's
But
actually
it all
it's actually one of
started
the
here.
button prompts, and because he's got such like steroided like Arnold Schwarzenegger arms, they actually have him punch the boulder into a lava pit to bridge a gap.
Yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
my
Joe was
gosh.
doing in between Remake and Resident Evil. What are you doing, Joe?
lot of steroids. Lot of
It all
steroids.
started here.
That's funny.
All right, so this is where we will conclude. We're currently in the mining tunnels. We have just witnessed the death of Enrico Marini, the captain of the Bravo team, to the Trader of Stars, presumably. And there is, I guess there has to be a part 3 now, doesn't there?
I would hope so. Yeah, I gotta see the end of it.
Yeah, the
And
final
if we just
part.
very quickly, if we hand over to Heidi and Joe, I'm sure I'd love to thank, just again, as with part 1 and part 2, even more so, thank you so much. We've had, just fans from all over the world expressing so much passion. And guys, if you haven't heard your questions mentioned, or, particularly with your sentiments mentioned, we do quite literally cut and paste all of the live chat, and we send it to Joe and Heidi so they get to see all of your comments and all
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great.
Really has. This is so enjoyable. And again, thank you to the entire community, to everybody around the world who loves the game, follows us, and takes the time to actually listen to, a nerd like me flap his gums about something he did 20 years ago. I love it so much, and it's so great. Paul and Artie and Aaron and John, just all of the people involved. Thank you so much.
And Andrew, thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Thank
Our
you.
pleasure.
Yeah, our pleasure.
All right.
Alrighty.
All right.
Okay,
Goodbye
well, we'll see you
for now.
All right. Take care,
next
everyone.
time we
Thank you
do
for
this-
watching. Yes, Joe.
Thanks so much,
so
guys.
much, guys. We'll see you with part
The
3,
next-
but just from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so very much for everybody.
Okay.
Yes. What's that, Joe?
Oh, the next time we do this, I'll be in Los Angeles.
Oh.
There you go. That's right. You're coming back
Right.
the beginning of July, correct?
Next weekend, next Saturday, I'll be home.
Oh,
Excellent.
wow. Fantastic. Awesome. So we will see everyone for part 3, the conclusion to the mansion incident from Jill's perspective. Thank you again.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Bye.
All right. Take care.
Ciao.
Bye.